What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Martian and Ozzy podcast. This week, we're going to be talking about the UFC Apex card going down this weekend from Las Vegas, headlined by Vicente Luque versus Rafael dos Anjos. 13 fights going down in the Apex this weekend. But before we get into that, I'm joined by my co-host, as always, Ozzy. How are we doing this week, my man?
That's right. We got an all Brazilian affair in our main event. I am very fond of affairs with Brazilians. And I'm excited about this one, coming up here. I'm glad Vicente Luque's brain is feeling good and feeling ready for the thrashing that Rafael dos Anjos is about to put on him. But hot off a nice event last week, a live event. Unfortunately, we're back at the Apex this week, so definitely a little bit more of a somber tone, and I feel like a lot of people are much less excited for this fight card. I myself will be touching grass. I suggest a lot of our listeners do as well. Seeing JP-Buys versus Marcus McGhee just really doesn't get my juices flowing that much. But we got my boy Francis Marshall on the card, so I'm excited for him. I'll try to catch that one, and yeah, that's where we're at. What do you think, Martian, overall? How do you feeling?
No mention of your boy Jose Johnson, the
Jose
Dominican
Johnson, yes.
Dominican
Jose Johnson,
representation.
exactly. Jose Johnson just got put on, which I love. I hate that he's getting a little bit of a bad matchup, short notice. But we saw my Dominican from my hometown, my parents' hometown, Jose Ramirez, on last Saturday, land a knockout. So this week we're rooting for our other Dominican friend, Jose Johnson,
Who the
to
fuck
get his
is
own
Jose
knockout.
Ramirez?
Jose Ramirez is the third
Boxer?
baseman for the Cleveland Indians that knocked out
Oh,
Tim Anderson. You casual. You're a
right,
baseball
right,
fan,
right.
supposedly.
No, yeah, of course I saw that. I just didn't know the guy's name.
Jose Ramirez is a top 10 baseball player in the world, so you better put some respect on his name.
That's good to know. Last week you did better than me. You won some head to head. We disagreed on some. I had Damon Jackson. You had Billy Q.
Easy one.
You doubted Bahamundes. That was correct. You had
Doubted. I told you that guy sucked.
You had Jacoby. I had
Easy.
Nzechukwu. Although
That
I
was
did
easy.
win the Carlton Harris one.
Yeah,
That
you
was
think you deserve that one?
hey.
Horrible bet.
The ticket
Awful
said it was
bet.
a winner.
Horrible
Yes.
wager. I mean, Philadelphia has a Khabib, and his name is Jeremiah Wells. But he just was not able to finish it. Honestly, he should have just circled away from the guy for the third round. Like he was so dominant in grappling that he got himself tired. And I hate it when that happens because it's happened to me before. I used to go to these tournaments and I'm like, yo, bro, fucking winning on points, that shit is stupid. Like nobody wants to do that. So I would just get exhausted trying to I would be up like 20 to nothing on people, 20 to like 5 or 20 to whatever, or a lot, 10, whatever. And I'd be just trying to submit the guy, and then I get tired and I get submitted. That was in my younger years when I was like 17 going against grown men. But
Mhm.
yeah, that was pretty stupid. But he should
Were
have
you
easily won. I could have easily swept all my bets on that card on a different day. Easily. Billy Q inside the distance, right? I would make that all my bets, I would make them again. They were all massively plus EV. Like it was a great slate. Amazing.
Billy Q money line, not plus EV, but
That's the only you see that one. Okay, fair enough. But I will say I was contemplating adding more to the inside the distance. But what I didn't want to go in a situation where the guy wins on the money line, and I had the inside. I had both, but then you lose money. You know what I mean? Because you had more of inside the distance and money line. So I pulled the reins back on that one. But overall, I felt all those bets were fantastic. Even, except for Gavin Tucker. Hold on, wait.
oh yeah.
Well, my bad, Gavin Tucker. But that was just stupid, dude. I don't know why he tried to go for a takedown in the first minute. That was just dumb. But
That
that boy
was.
need
Especially when he got a
that boy
free
need
kick.
juice.
He fucking punted the dude in the dick for free and he still fucked it up.
He was just nervous. You could tell. Like I think you could tell. And you know what? I should have factored in. I'm gonna start factoring in when you have a huge layoff and then you're coming back to one of those live events. You know what I'm saying? Or like a
Mhm.
pay-per-view or something like Michael Chiesa, right? You saw it like the other day. So I'm gonna start factoring that in because I feel like that's like another variable that maybe I'm not really factoring in as much. So yeah. But fading Kyler Phillips, I thought we were right there. I
Got
I, I
close.
regret not fading you on that stupid ass Bahamundes play and taking him.
we
But
had
I
G
mean,
we
if
had GTD there. That was an easy GTD.
that was the easy GTD, dude. The fight kind of went how I said. Is either they're gonna be kicking each other on the outside, or this motherfucker's gonna be on his back. So, like, so it really went as I thought. And then O'Day getting submitted, right? We had the under there. So it was just a great card overall. Jacoby KO. It was a nice card.
It
So
was.
but we're back. We're here to keep the streak going, keep it rolling. So let's get into this card.
And
13. How many fights? 13, 12?
13. Last point
13.
on last week, though, just a shout out to our commenter, Sean V, 3727. Guaranteed me that Jeremiah Wells would win the fight and told me that I need to get better
Sharp
at
play.
picking fights. Yep.
Sharp play, Sean.
Unfortunately, guarantees don't happen in this game here, kiddo, and you got a lot more to learn. So,
But let
we'll
us
move
know.
on.
Let us know your pick this week, Sean. I'm a huge supporter of you, Sean. So
No,
keep
no,
coming
that's a
back.
different guy. That's the different guy who the lock of the week guy is
I
a
don't care.
different guy.
No. But I want to hear Sean's next picks as well, bro.
Okay.
So
Okay.
hit us up. Let us know for the algorithm. Let us know who's your lock of the week.
Well, Sean V made fun of you back weeks back for picking Barbarina in a fight.
But I am impartial, Martian. That is okay. He can do that.
It's Tugger
He
Nuts. Tugger Nuts 1975 is our boy who predicts the locks. So shout out to
No,
him.
bro. I want all your locks, bro. Anyone that has a lock, put it in the comments. Let me know why my analysis is wrong and why your pick will win. Let me know.
There you go. All right, so 13 fights. We're getting into them. First fight, flyweight women's division. Juliana Miller, Luana Santos. Odds for this one have Santos as the favorite -136, Miller +116. A little bit of action on Miller today. I don't know. I didn't really look into this fight. Santos seems like an offensive grappler. Miller got destroyed on the feet and on the ground versus Macedo in her last fight. I'm not interested in laying chalk on a woman making her UFC debut. I'm not interested in betting on Juliana Miller at all after that last fight. So I see no bets on the fight. That's all for me. Any thoughts from you here?
Yeah, interesting. So I heard you, I've not you specifically, but people commenting on Juliana Miller's last performance, how the fight went and stuff like that. I did rewatch that one, Martian, right? So
Wow.
first points for me. I did rewatch that fight. But reason is I really didn't watch it the first time it happened. So when I was watching that, I actually came away, I was like, like I don't know what to say about it. It just felt like there was something off with Miller, but I still did feel like overall, directionally, she is going the right way. Like in terms of like how she is gonna fight with like her skill set. Not saying I think it's necessarily gonna work here, just because Santos, I did see also live when she fought Jenna Bishop. I think I had Jenna Bishop in that fight. But Jenna Bishop, there is some overlap between Miller and Jenna Bishop. They do some training together in like San Diego and things like that. But the issue here is that Miller is a little bit floppy overall. And this girl Santos is pretty strong, being a former judoka. She showed in that Souza fight that she was, all over her and on top of her there. But I think it will be harder for her to control a girl like Miller on the ground. But on the feet, it's just like, what is going to happen? I can't really say with a lot of conviction. I do think that Santos trains with Chris Cyborg, so I think I would give her the advantage on the feet just because she keeps her stance, throws harder punches. Juliana Miller, I would say, is more scrappy, but Santos throws harder shots and has more of a plan. So the fight's gonna be sloppy. I guess, some people taking Miller at the plus 130, 125 number, I think that I got up to. I guess that could be okay, but the over here is also like not that appealing, and you would think that Miller would need to get some good positions here to justify a play on her, even though the over is -220. So overall, it's a pass fight. No action on it. This girl's had 5 fights. They've had 11 fights between each other. But I would pick Santos as well.
Same for me. Next fight is a good one. Short notice fight in the bantamweight division. Jose Johnson making his UFC debut, taking on Damon Blackshear. Odds for this one have Blackshear as the -200 favorite, +170 coming back on Johnson. Let's pass it over to the resident Dominican expert
That's
and give
right.
us your thoughts on this one.
That's right. So obviously we got Jose Johnson, right? By the way, Dominican Republic, by the way of Flint, Michigan. So he's officially. So who else is from Flint? Is Mike Perry from Flint, or is it Jamal Hill? One of them
Mm,
motherfuckers.
I'm
We
not
got a
sure.
few. We got a few Flint guys, and now we got Jose Johnson. Now Jose Johnson, I loved his last fight or his fight in the in Contender where he just beating up that rat tail, mofo, Cartwright, who sucked. But Jose Johnson, I mean, he's got skills everywhere. He's a pretty good Muay Thai guy, right? Throws some strong strikes. Is dangerous with the elbows, front kicks, leg kicks, head kicks. Like he throws a lot of kicks, a lot of strikes. He's active on the ground. Even though people like clown him for being like a noodle, like no takedown defense, he actually does know jujitsu. Like he'll get you. He put that guy in a few triangles, if I remember right. He hits the butterfly guard sweeps, which is kind of rare to see sometimes when a guy is like 6 feet tall. He'll get on top. He'll do a bunch of stuff. But the thing is, Damon Blackshear is gonna have a big strength advantage. He's gonna have a big wrestling advantage. On the feet, he's not bad either. He carved up what's his name? What's the guy's name?
Lacerda.
Luan Lacerda. He carved him up. He beat him soundly every aspect of the fight. And he's just talented overall. He's pretty talented. He's got some good hardware, right? So he's strong, like I said, pretty athletic. His gas could be, here or there, but honestly, it's in very high-paced fights. So I do think he's gonna win the fight, but I do think it's gonna be somewhat competitive at certain times. And if Damon doesn't stick to a game plan, he could get caught at any time against Jose Johnson because I don't really think he's got that good of a chin personally. So I'm rooting for Jose Johnson. Here maybe I'll take an inside the distance ticket on him, but most likely a pass. I don't want to let my fandom, cloud my judgment, as Martian will tell you, as surely is doing now. But yeah, so we're rooting for Jose Johnson. Should be a good 135 fight, but I do think both these guys will win UFC fights. Anyone that says Jose Johnson will not be winning UFC fights is very wrong. Go ahead, Martian.
Yeah, we were excited for his last fight against Garrett Armfield as the dog there. I liked him in that fight, and I think he does have bad takedown defense, but he actually does well in the fights once he's taken down. He has kind of learned that he has that bad takedown defense, and he sweeps, he throws up submissions, he throws elbows off his back. So if Damon gets on top of here, it's not going to be like easy top position. I mean, Jose is going to be pesky to deal with on bottom, but I do think that Damon is just a way better mixed martial artist overall. Little bit cleaner everywhere. Just has more ways to win the fight. Has been preparing for an entire camp. Was supposed to fight Brady Highstand. That would have been a really good fight, and instead Jose jumping in here on short notice. And it's kind of unfortunate, man. I mean, the guy got signed on the Contender Series a whole year ago, and he's had multiple fights get canceled. I mean, I guess he did pull out of both of them, so it is a little bit of his fault. But he's probably just taking this fight as a little bit of like a do or die situation. So don't like that coming into the fight. I do think he will win UFC fights, but I don't see him defeating Blackshear. And the line is about accurate. 2-1 for Blackshear. Um, Seems about right. That's going to move us along to the women's strawweight division. Jacqueline Amorim taking on Montserrat Ruiz. The comeback of Montserrat Ruiz. Odds for this one here have Amorim minus 245, Ruiz plus 210. Easy one here, guys. Amorim sub 1. Just Ruiz has no way to win fights outside of a head and arm throw, and Amorim is just the way better grappler of the two. If Ruiz tries to do that head and arm throw, she will instantly get her back taken, likely get submitted. It took Sam Hughes some incredible resilience and strength not to get choked out in that first round to weather the storm of Amorim. But if it somehow gets out of round one, I could see it getting rough. And Amorim's cardio doesn't look good. Her setup for her takedowns, her striking, none of it looks good. But to me, this just seems like an easy spot for her to run through someone, get a round one submission. And I do see Amorim getting the sub one here. What about you?
I would tend to agree. I mean, I don't even like who is Ruiz. Like, what does she do? What is her talents? Like, other than
Scarf.
head and arm, scarf hold, it's like what I don't know. Like, what was the odds on? I don't. Doesn't matter. So yeah, I think that Amarin is gonna submit this girl. She's got some accomplishments in jiu-jitsu, trains at ATT, but like I said, man, it doesn't matter how confident you are in these girls when oh man, she's so much better than this. Oh man, I've seen this tale before. I've been down this path. Do not play Amarin by money line. Don't do it. Do not do it. I think she should win. She should submit this girl 10 times out of 10. All right. But yeah, dude, I'm done. laying the juice because we say it and then you fuck up and kind of like under the table. Didn't you bet? Well, you bet this fight, right? You bet the submission.
Sub, yeah.
Yeah, but
Plus
you
one.
didn't tell. You didn't say that. Did you just say? Did you say that?
Uh, I did not say that.
You did not say that. So this is what I mean. These, the people, they'll will be like, oh, right, Martian, you know what I'm talking about. Be like,
The
oh man,
odds,
never
Ozzy,
laid
the
juice.
odds were plus 100. Not even, not
Perfect.
evens, plus 100.
But you know
So,
what I mean? So every time we'll see some of these girls, these juice girls, and we'll be like, don't bet on them. And then we'll start talking ourselves into it later in the week. And I'm gonna tell you right now, not for me. I will not be betting this fight at all. Not submission, not money line, not a total, nothing.
bummer.
So no, that's it. Yeah. I'll be watching though. I'll be watching Jacqueline Amorim. Don't get
I,
it twisted there. My
I
eyes will be
still
locked on.
endorse, I still endorse sub one. Maybe wait for it to come out on FanDuel or
What's sub
something.
one? What plus
Well,
100? Plus
it's
even
plus
money?
130.
Oh,
I think it'll.
under 2.5 is minus
Yeah,
145.
you might. I mean, it's funny that you might as well just take under at this point. I mean, her
Yeah,
subs
they
all the
got
way
Jasmine, they got
155.
Jacqueline sub minus 165 and the under minus 145.
Right, like, it's clearly not gonna happen in the last 2.5 minutes if it gets there. Um, so yeah, that'll be a hilarious fight. I really hope that Ruiz goes for the head and arm throw and just instantly
I
gets it.
do, yes. I
That'd be
really
great.
do hope so.
Speaking of riveting matchups in MMA, the next one is one of those heavyweight division, Josh Parisian, Martin Buday. Buddy Buday is the favorite, minus 200, Parisian plus 170. Your turn to start this one off.
My buddy, my buddy. This guy is my buddy. And that's it. We ride this guy, Martin Buday, fat as fuck, but very functional. Cuts weight to 265, but the boy got gas. In the third round, he's fucking up Jay Collier. He's making Chris Barnett quit with illegal strikes. He's beating up what's that guy's name? Potter that he fought on the contender rate. He's fucking Potter up, the whole time. And he's gonna fuck up Josh Parisian here, is what I feel. Josh, he just, I mean, like his power is just like he's a slow starter for one. He doesn't have good cardio for second. His knockouts, a lot of them, like he was the one that fought Huntsucker, right? It was him or
I
no?
don't believe so, no.
No, but like one of his fights, he'll be like trying to calf
But
kick
no?
these guys. No, sorry, no, I'm thinking of he fought that guy Chad Johnson, who is a mega bum, right? But he's on roids now, so he's like, I don't know. But anyway, the guy just doesn't have a coherent plan. He'll get held up against the fence, which is Buddy's favorite move. If he gets taken down, he's not getting back up. And like I said, he's got bad cardio. He's not going, 15 minutes with Buddy and winning a decision, I should say. So I got Buddy. I got goes the distance. I got Buddy by decision. I got Buddy money line, and Buddy's just gonna dominate this fight, dude. Buddy's in his prime right now, and he's the new age of heavyweight, honestly, dude. So he's Josh Parisian is Charmander, and Buddy is Charizard, and you know how that fight will go. So let's go.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's never very easy to lay juice on heavyweights, especially when they are, obese like Boudet. But I don't know, guys. I mean, if this line was closer to minus 400, I still don't think I would be tempted to bet on Parisian. Parisian also had some bad heart problems. This is going to be a great reference for some of you guys out there on MMA Twitter. Uh, Parisian, before he was supposed to fight Chase Sherman, he woke up at 1 in the morning with his heart beating out of his chest, soaked in sweat. If you guys know that reference, you are a true MMA Twitter connoisseur. I don't even know if Ozzy gets that shit.
I kind of like vaguely place it, but yeah.
Okay, yeah. So
Josh
this dude.
Parisian went to a split decision with Rocky Martinez. That's it. That's all you got to know.
Widely regarded that he lost that fight too. Um, so the only real guy he's beaten is Badeau, and he got dropped and lost round 1 of that fight too. So I mean, I think Parisian is awful at all things MMA, and like Ozzy was saying, despite Boudet being fat, the guy actually somehow has good cardio, and just seems to have a pretty functional game, and he lands some pretty hard punches too. I mean, uh, you know, Collier started fast. He weathered that storm. He persevered through it. Brzeski started fast, weathered that storm, powered through it. I mean, this dude is just a grinder, and he doesn't really ever look to finish the fight. So Ozzy's on to something with the decision there, plus 170, something in that range, and his money line I think is good, honestly. So
Also,
that'll move.
also, also, he had to extend his training camp because he was supposed to fight Walt Harris.
Buday, or no, Parisian was.
Parisian.
That's right. That's
Parisian
right.
was. So that
Yeah,
fat fuck had to keep training, and you know he probably didn't.
probably. Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, probably
Um,
not.
that's gonna move us along to a big fight here in the featherweight division. Francis Marshall taking on Isaac Dulgarian. Odds for this one have Marshall minus 170, Dulgarian plus 145. I know it's supposed to be my turn to start it off, but I'm gonna pass it back to you, Ozzy, so you can kick this one off.
Here we go, 145 fight. You know, I got interest in it. And interesting fight. I mean, I did not know where this Bulgarian guy went after his looking for a fight or whatever the fuck the TV show was. Apparently he had to move. I think he was a James Krause guy, then he moved. But the weird thing is, like, he's still like involved in like the Missouri, Kansas, whatever scene. I saw he's like a wrestling coach or some shit like that. But then it says that he's a Factory X guy. So what I'm trying to tell you is I'm not really sure what he's doing overall in terms of his camp. But what I do know is what Francis Marshall is doing in his camp. Okay, and coincidentally, I was at a place where Francis does frequent a little bit. This past Sunday, so that's good vibes already. And I just know who Francis is training with. Francis Marshall's getting working with a lot of guys from the Cornell Wrestling, tree overall. There's a guy, basically the Cornell head coach. His younger brother is like a little like Sean Shirk looking dude, and he's coming up, and he's a 145er as well, or a 135er. And him and Francis have been training a lot. Frankie Edgar, a bunch of the other Cornell wrestling guys, a bunch of the Penn State wrestling guys. We got a few. So there's a lot of good stuff happening in the Northeast. Let me just tell you guys. And I think Francis Marshall is like a by like osmosis, indirect beneficiary, right? Like a guy who doesn't have as official of a pedigree trade like background, right? Like, oh, he wrestled in high school here, or college here, whatever, blah blah. But Francis Marshall has been around all of this for a long time, and you could tell he's got skills. He's also got the cardio and conditioning advantage here, I believe. But I do think it's gonna be a tough fight overall at first because I think both guys are quick in the first round. I think both guys are going to be willing to throw and throw strikes. And the only concern that I have is that Marshall, sometimes when he's throwing some of these strikes, he doesn't really move his head all that much as he throws strikes. And he doesn't really have a lot of great exit movements in terms of, when you throw across, slipping or Ewing out one way or another. So he doesn't do that too much. So that means that he is there to be hit a bit. And this guy, Isaac, I think does have power. But I don't think that he can withstand the pace that Francis Marshall is in the fight at. I think that last fight was complete bullshit. That French dude just circled away from him the whole fight, frustrated him. I doubt he has a lot of experience against southpaws, being 24 or whatever he is. And that guy just didn't want to fight. So I think Isaac definitely does want to fight, and I think that the pace that he comes out with will be to his detriment later on. Francis is super tough, very well rounded, good grappler, both wrestling and jiu-jitsu wise, and I do think that he's going to win this fight. I have locked him in. I got to bet on him on the money line at minus 155. And but I think it'll be a solid scrap. I know there's some people on the Isaac side, but I think it's a bad bet. He's going to lose.
People are on the Isaac side, but it's at way, way better prices than it is now, which I think is worth noting. I also will be on Marshall here, but for a lot more simple and less biased of a reason than Ozzy. It's just this guy, Bulgarian, has never fought pro past 3 minutes. I mean, there's always going to be huge question marks about that, in my opinion. I'm never looking to bet on a guy who I've never seen, past 3 minutes in a pro MMA fight. I mean, that right away is enough for me to just fade him here. It's not obviously like guaranteed this guy's gonna gas out. And he might surprise us and actually have, cardio to go the full 15. But I mean, the competition he's fighting, the way he's just taking him down, running through him on the mat, he's faced no adversity, he's faced no good opponents, he's never been past 3 minutes. I just think this is, a very common archetype we see come into the UFC and fail pretty quickly. I truly believe, guys, this is Braxton Smith versus Parker Porter 2. at the featherweight version of that. And maybe Dulgarian has some early success. Maybe he takes Marshall down, but I think if he doesn't finish in the first, couple of minutes, I expect him to slow down heavily. Big adrenaline dump, first UFC fight. I think he's gonna, probably tank hard, and Marshall's probably gonna finish him in the second or third. So I like Marshall in this one. Money line, I think, is good. Have the finger on the trigger on the live bets. If Dolgarian has early success, look to fade him and take some of that 2-3 Marshall as well when those open up on more books.
Bulgarian jiu-jitsu is not horrible. I saw some of the submissions he was going for. Like he moves okay on the ground. I like Marshall by knockout. I like him on the feet over this guy just to finish by knockout, which is plus 525. So I like that.
Yeah, I think like a second or third round finish. I
Hmm.
mean, he does have 5 subs in his career or 4 subs in his career, so I guess it really could
I
be
got the
either. I
I
would just
got
go
the knockout.
round 2, round 3. Um, Next one, 155 fight, short notice. McKinney-Breeden taking on Terrence McKinney. Odds for this one have McKinney minus 280, Breeden plus 220. Boy, oh boy, am I excited for this one.
Oh,
That last fight might have been Ozzy's main event. This one is my main event. Notorious McKinney-Breeden fan here. I like the guy. I think he has a good understanding of the boxing fundamentals. Not really a whole lot else. Not really anything else, honestly. I mean, I guess he's tough, but um, I just hope he wins this fight, man. I'm a notorious Terrence McKinney hater as well. Absolutely hate this guy. Think he's a total bum. Think he's a total. I don't even want to use any type of insult, but if you just follow this guy's Twitter, you know that he's a fucking idiot, and that I enjoy seeing him lose. I mean, I just love how instantly this guy collapses at the first sign of adversity in fights. I mean, it's what bums are made of is Terrence McKinney. And he could light Breeden up and finish him in the first round here, but I think if Breeden shows any realm of adversity here, then I think that he will weather the storm and he will finish McKinney in these later rounds. Just a funny note, looking at Tapology, they have Breeden as the 183rd best lightweight in the world. They have McKinney at 35.
I
Both
mean,
those
Breeden
numbers
sucks, dude.
both those
Breeden
numbers are
sucks.
wrong.
No way.
Well, both those numbers are wrong. I mean, Breeden is bad, but like I said, I think it's mostly an athleticism thing. I think this guy is just a terrible athlete, but he does have like a decent understanding of all areas of MMA and like just like how to win fights. It's just that he's a horrible athlete in a sport where you're very reliant on athletes. Also, coming off a long layoff, man, a year and 4 months. That did not seem that long to me. But being serious here though, guys, McKinney could let him up on the feet, could take him down and give him problems. Just wait and look to live bet McKinney. I mean, they gave us Nazim Sadikov at plus 200 live last time when he had his back taken. They gave us pick'em odds on Nazim in between rounds. So I mean, the live market especially doesn't seem to be understanding McKinney yet. And he's coming in on here on short notice too, so his cardio should be even worse than it is usually. So I really hope McKinney can win. Or excuse me, I really hope that Breeden can win. It would just prove that it takes nothing to beat McKinney except for a little bit of resilience. So I hope that happens here. And look to live bet Breeden, maybe Breeden round 2, round 3 off rip. That's gonna take us to the next
Whoa,
fight.
whoa, 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 whoa! Why can I give my
Whoa!
opinion
Oh,
on
my
this
fault,
fight?
bro. My fault, bro.
Jesus Christ.
Give us
Um,
your thoughts.
yeah, I mean, this fight. I mean, the best endorsement for Mike Breeden is the fact that in that third round against Levy, he was coming on. Levy was bombing him with like body kicks and doing a bunch of karate shit. And Breeden was just walking through some of it. So that was good for him. Obviously, I don't think McKinney, like, you see, he lost, or Breeden lost to Hernandez, but Hernandez is just like a potent, like, just with the strikes, he's really good at when he sees you wounded, like, he's gonna kill you. Whereas Terrence McKinney, like, he don't even take the time to hope you get wounded, right? You
His
like, it's
brain
like a,
can't process it.
yeah, but it's like either I kill you or like he doesn't really even give you an opportunity like that. So Breeden, that's the thing. Like Breeden is the kind of guy where like if he gets stunned, like if you let like if he could defend a little bit, he will recompose himself. And get basically he kind of is good at funneling you into like places where it's like less danger for him. But the problem is McKinney, he don't really fuck around with that. So he's gonna go nuts. He's gonna be throwing kicks, maybe falling over. So if I was to bet my Breeden, I would just try to take him to finish Terrence McKinney at some point. Um, just staying resilient, like you said, maybe keeping his hands high. But the thing is, he's gonna get taken down. So and his ground game is not that good. He's pure defense. So he's gonna lose this fight. But if you want to play him inside the distance, it is gambling at the end of the day. Plus 300 though is not that good. So
No, it's not. I wouldn't. Yeah. But I think that McKinney's going to go back to striking because he's thinking, hey, I knocked out Frivola. I, nearly knocked out Dober with my strikes. I tried grappling in the last fight. I gassed out. I think he's probably just going to go for broke with a knockout. Hopefully. Um, that's going to move us along. Next fight is in the bantamweight division here. Marcus the Maniac McGhee taking on JP here. Odds for this one have Marcus McGhee, big favorite, at -400, JP plus 300 here. McGhee coming off that legendary debut in his last fight. What are you thinking about this one?
I hope JP wins just because he's associated with Northeast Shoot Box. And like I mentioned that with obviously Francis Marshall Northeast Shoot Box certified. But JP-Buys also is trying to do that. But I'm gonna tell you, I'm not gonna go into this fight. Under 1.5 is absolute lock in this fight. I'm gonna bet 10. I'm not betting 10 units on it, but that's a lock for me in this fight. See how the least amount of juice you can lay, but I think this fight will finish in under 1.5. These boys looking to get busy. JP is either going to be out of his contract or get a contract extension. And I don't think Marcus McKee is. I think Marcus McKee is looking for the bonus. You know what I mean? Like these guys, I've seen a pattern with these MMA lab guys. They be bonus hunting. So we're going Marcus McGee, JP-Buys under 1.5, lock of the night.
Interesting. I can't endorse. I can't. So a couple things JP has going for him here. Long layoff, hasn't taken any damage in a while. Moving up to 135. He had notoriously been dropped 8 times in his past 23 minutes in the octagon, setting a record. Also, he had his wife stolen by Roman Dolidze. Just a rough patch for JP. And he's training with a lot better guys, training with Aljo now. And the guy, his skill as a grappler isn't bad. It's just he's a terrible striker. His defense is bad and his chin is horrible. But that also could have been a lot of revolved around the weight cuts. So going up to 135 here, it has to be better for his chances. And the guy is only like 27 years old. It's possible he improves. So I think the money line has to be a bit wide here. I mean, McGee, legendary performance in his last fight. I just love that type of performance. I did bet on him as an underdog there, but just short notice, fighting the UFC tested guy, and it just did not matter one bit. Marcus came in there not showing any signs of short notice, not showing any signs of it being a 1 week UFC debut, and he beat Journey Newsom's ass and submitted him. So that was amazing there. And I think he should be the better fighter. He's definitely the better fighter than JP Buys, but I'm not sure he's 80% likely to win the fight. And I think that Buys' chin at 135 here will be a little bit better. McGee, I don't think is some nuclear hitter either, but neither is our boy Cody Durden, who knocked him out too. So I actually think that over 1.5 here will be my endorsement. No bets on the fight for me so far. Haven't really looked at props because BetOnline's props are pretty horrible. Marcus McGee's sub is plus 650, even though he just won by sub. I mean, I guess Buys is a guy who kind of quits by knockout, but that seems a little off to me. Maybe just look to play McGee, late finish, maybe a third round finish or something here. But all the odds on this these props are pretty shit. So that's going to take us to the next fight, which is in the middleweight division. First fight on the main card, premier division in the UFC. And we have Josh Fremd taking on Jamie Pickett here. Josh Fremd, big favorite, take at minus 350, Pickett plus 285. Kind of the same story as the last fight where, I think one guy is definitely better. Fremd is better than Pickett, but minus 350, man, I don't know. It's just such a huge shift in the market as well. I know obviously the odds on the last fight were wrong. for Fremd when he was plus 180 to Dumas. But just such a huge shift from being a 35% underdog to now almost an 80% favorite against Pickett. Especially because Pickett, just had a run of just horrible matchups for him. I mean, I guess our boy Dennis Tululin isn't that bad of a matchup. I mean, he's a pretty horrible fighter, but I don't know. Maybe I'm talking in circles here.
Dennis Tululin, stylistic nightmare.
Jamie Pickett's probably not going to not going to win the fight. But this is middleweight. Variance is real at this weight, and I just think that no way you can be laying minus 300 juice on Fremd here. Props or pass. And I think all the props are pretty accurately priced here. Fremd sub at only 220. I think that I guess that would be the stab I endorse to boast here is just a sub because Pickett gives up easy submissions. So, and any thoughts or bets for you here?
Man, I just want to say one thing. When we were going into this card, I wasn't, what's the word? Internalizing that how fucking terrible this main card, especially. This is, I'm gonna pin it, worst main card I've ever seen on a UFC event. Like this is Jacqueline, no, Jacqueline's not on, but this is a dog shit main card. I mean, the whole event. There's no way people should be watching this live. But let's talk about this fight a little bit. Yeah, I was impressed by what I saw against by Fremd in that fluffy fight. It led us to fade what's his name, Trishan, and this guy, fucking shit the bed in that. Right, he should have won that fight though.
Yeah, that's a
He
good
should won this.
example. That's a good example
Yeah,
of it. I mean, he should have won that fight.
easily should have won that fight. So, I think he will win this one. But the fact is, Pickett's fucking long, right? He's got a huge reach, right? The 80-inch reach. So, he loves being in the clinch, with you as well. But I do think Josh Fremd, once he does get in there, he's gonna get busy. He's gonna start working. Looking to get the takedowns and stuff like that. So, I think some people are gonna look to force this over 1.5. But I'm not interested, dude. Just because it's too juiced. That minus one, what is it, 175? That's too much to pay for something where Pickett, he's a fucking quitter. He's telling us he bit his tongue against who gives a fuck? This guy's just a weird guy. I don't like him. He's a quitter, against Tululin. I felt he quit against, I got kneed in the balls, and then that's why you got arm triangle. So this guy's a clown. I don't like him. But Fremd, I mean, you can't trust this guy at that kind of juice. But I mean, the submission prop for me is a little interesting just because, like I said, I think that Pickett's a quitter, but he'll find a way. He always will find an excuse, right? And it's hard to find an excuse when a guy knocks you out, right? But it's easy when you give him a fucking submission. So I'm gonna take Josh Fremd by submission in round 2 specifically.
I like it. I think that'll be my predicted outcome as well. And yeah, I think he's tough to strikes. Like he's not easy to finish. Like
Yeah.
Lulin was fucking him up for minutes and minutes, and he finally went down there. But I think he's at the point now where he's just like submit me and I'm be out of here. Only guy to lose to Jordan Wright in the UFC too. That's a quite the. Oh no, I'm sorry. I like Villanueva also.
I was on Jordan right enough. I mean, Jamie Pickett sucks. I mean, I've honestly had a lot of success in Jamie Pickett fights because I had Tafon against him. I had Jordan Wright. I had him against Staropoli. I had him against Holmes. We had Dawkins submission. So we had Tululin. Dude, I think I might have won. Dude, I think I honestly won on all his fights except for the Bo Nickel fight. I didn't bet on that one. But I think otherwise, I think I've won on all his fights.
I laid the juice on Bo Nickel round 1 there.
There you go.
Yeah, and your point about this fight card, it's like the only appeal of watching it is these fights and fighters are so bad that you're like, oh, I got to see how they match up. Like you're telling me that we can see McKinney-Breeden and McKinney locked in the cage at the same time. Like something hilarious has to happen. But
I mean, when I just saw the fact that JP-Buys is 9-5, and then you got Jamie Pickett at 13-9, and then after this is Tafon. I mean, this is a terrible.
Multiple fights where both fighters have like less than 10 pro fights. I mean, brutal shit. Multiple fighters coming off like 3 fight losing streaks.
I can't believe Polyana's still in the UFC, dude.
Yeah. Well, she's coming off a knockout, but we'll get there in 1 second. One more fight in the Premier Division. Tafon Nchukwi taking on AJ Dobson here. Odds for this one have Nchukwi as the slight favorite at, let's see, minus 143, AJ Dobson plus 123. Will Mark Coleman's prospect to get his first UFC win in this fight, Ozzy.
Bro, I'd be more interested, honestly, in seeing Mark Coleman and Lloyd Irvin fight. That would be a banger if they could if they could get that one on this card, I would be so into it. Who do you pick in that fight, Merchant?
I would get Lloyd
Lloyd
Irvin
Irvin.
because he's not gonna take no for an answer, if you know what I mean.
There you go. Exactly. He's gonna implement that grappling, ground and pound game plan. So he's gonna take a page out of Mark Coleman's book. So it's Tafon against AJ, right? Yeah. So this is a fight where initially I was like Tafon for sure. Tafon back down to 185. He's fought a lot of pretty solid guys, and he's gotten clipped and whatever, by a few of them. But then honestly, I watched that last AJ Dobson fight, and I hadn't recalled it too well. And I thought that he didn't actually look that bad against Armin. I think Armin, obviously he did his thing with the kickboxing from the outside, but like it was a foreign, like a foreign fight, right? He had to go overseas. He did land a takedown. I think it was, I don't remember if it was around one or round two. Landed a good takedown there, looked pretty strong, looked durable. He's definitely durable. Looked like he had good conditioning. And if he lets off his punches, the guy could be a dangerous guy, no doubt about it. I feel. But honestly, I don't think he's a high level prospect. Now, Tafon, I actually did like this guy overall. I've bet on him multiple times in the UFC, except for against Mike Rodriguez. That was an awful bet that I had on Mike Rodriguez, another Dominican that I think I was weak to. But yeah, so I think these guys, honestly, the fight could go over. I'm kind of leaning more toward. I have a partial bet on Tafon at minus 140. I don't think I'm gonna add on it. I think I'm liking the over a little bit, just because I feel like both these guys are pretty durable. Tafon did fight at like heavyweight and stuff like that, so he does have some power. But the fact that AJ, he kind of fights behind the jab a little bit sometimes. The thing is though, he rushes in a few times, so I feel like there could be a finish here. But I kind of do like the goes the distance here. I think it's at plus money here. I think you get minus 115 or something like that. Let me see. Yes, plus money. So I'm kind of leaning towards putting that on top of Tafon money line. Um, but I'm not sure. I feel like I would feel like a dickhead if AJ knocks him out. So I'm a little conflicted on this fight, Martian. Help me out. Where should we go here?
Well, I think this is a bit similar to a fight last week, Tanner Boser versus Alexa Kamur, because you have Chukwi, who I originally thought he would be the side in this fight as well, and I'm thinking, why is he at this price? But then looking at his record, I mean, the guy is 1-3 in his last four. Did get knocked out in two out of his last three fights, and his UFC wins, Slow Mike, Jamie Pickett, they're horrible. So I understand. On paper, his record does look really bad. But I mean, AJ Dobson is equally as bad. I mean, the guy he fought in a contender series was literally had gray hair. And then, he was thoroughly dominated by Malkoun and Petrosian in those fights. But, just much different stylistic matchup here. You had a really long, skilled striker in Petrosian who outstruck him there. And then you had a dominant top position grappler in Malkoun who took him down there. Chukwi is neither of those things. He can mix in takedowns. He can strike pretty well. But the guy's got a weird build. He does not hit hard at all. Seems to have very little finishing equity. And I kind of understand a little bit of what this is talking about. Also, I did think AJ Dobson did look better in the Petrosian fight. Obviously, the fight stayed standing the entire time, so he wasn't laying on his back and dominated there. But I do think he just looked a little more comfortable in there. So I could see either guy winning here. I still gotta lean with Chukwi at the current price. Not an easy click, but going down to 185 and just some of the performances he put together. The Azamat fight in particular, I thought he was looking good up in that fight. Did well early against Junyun Park, dominant win against Pickett and Rodriguez. Oldberg slept him, but that same thing would happen at Dobson here. So I think Tafon's got some things going for him here. And we're probably getting a discount on Tafon because he has 1-3 in his last four fights. So um, I'll go with Tafon by decision there. Definitely think that one is going to a decision. The best bet on the fight is probably the GTT or the over, like Ozzy said there. And that's going to move us along to the next fight, women's strawweight division, Poliana Viana, Yasmin-Lucindo. I guess that's her first name. More Brazil and Brazil violence here. Odds for this one have Lucindo as the favorite at minus 188, Viana plus 163. Not too many thoughts here except for Viana. She steers her way into finishes. She's not a good round winner. She's not a really good overall MMA fighter, but she has moments in fights where she stuns people with punches. She jumps on a submission and she finishes fights. So, Lucindo is very likely going to need a 15-minute decision to win the fight, while Viana can, make an opportunistic moment happen on the feet, maybe even snatch a submission. It'll probably have to be a submission. I don't see her, hurting Lucinda like she did to Jinyu Fry. So, I guess it's Viana or pass. But I mean, this is so low level, man. I can't get involved. I have no actual bets here. Anything for you, Ozzy?
No, sir, no wagers here. But maybe you could bet the under here just because you think, hey, Viana, what does she do? I heard your boy Evan. What did he say he's gonna do? He said he's gonna do some weird shit if Viana wins the decision. I saw Pepe post about it. I honestly quickly read it and it was like, man, what the fuck is going on here? So I got that shit off my screen. But yeah, like you said, so Viana, she goes through these submissions. She's a submission hunter. Lucindo is a young prospect, maybe dives into her guard, right? Viana, she's been plagued by the fact that when she lays in prone guard, these girls don't want to go down, down to the ground with her. But Lucindo, maybe being over eager, overzealous, very interested in, getting a finish. Maybe she jumps on her, tries to land some ground and pound, and then gets her ass armbarred. But who the fuck knows, man? This is a horrible fight. But I think that there easily could be a finish here because Viana, her striking, like she holds her hands like by her. I mean, she's a little bit of a glove sniffer, but her hands are really low, her hips are really high. So I feel like this girl could get dropped by a punch super easily. But I don't really know that much about Lucindo, dude. I saw that fight against Yaraguri a little bit, and she had another fight right after that, I think.
Yeah,
I don't
she beat
know.
Brogan Walker.
Yeah, she beat Brogan, but Brogan sucks. So, but I think she was similar price here than she was against Brogan,
No, I
where
think
I
she was like minus like
more.
400 versus
Oh,
Brogan, I think.
excuse me. But yeah, man, this is a horrible fight, dude. I hate these kind of like I don't like
Why
disrespecting
is
the
it on the
girls
main
because
card? Why the
I
fuck is
don't
this
know,
on the main
dude.
card?
I don't know,
Great.
dude. I like that Paliana is an armbar girl. I'm a fan of the armbar, but the fact that she be laying in prone guard, bro, really grinds my gears.
Right. 0-4 in decisions in her career. So that tells you all you need to know. That's going to move us along to light heavyweight fight. Chris Daukaus making his UFC debut at light heavyweight. Khalil Rountree is the opponent. Rountree is the favorite, minus 172. Daukaus plus 147. Your turn to start this one off.
So I'm personally Team Strickland. I don't like Khalil Rountree. I think Khalil Rountree, like he said, he's a white knight. He does a lot of this, little, weird stuff. I don't know where I think he's been training back at in Vegas, a syndicate, but I do know he was in New York for a while because he's dating one of these model girls. And he does what, any MMA fighter who, gets a little, they're like, oh, uproot my whole life, move over here. After his last fight, he's doing all this press about what was it? He was talking about like mental health or something like that. So he's doing a bunch of like shoots, like photo shoots around the city and shit like that. He trained that one time at a gym that I was going to, but he wasn't really training, often or hard. So I never want to bet on Khalil Rountree because he's a little bit of a head case. I think that obviously he's got power, right? He's got a lot of power. Great Muay Thai. When he's locked in, he's coming after you. But I feel like his chin, at times is not the best. But overall, I don't want to have This is another fight. I don't really want to have action on it because Chris Daukaus, although he has some skills himself, his chin could be totally dusted. He's this is I feel a little bit of desperation dropping down to 205, but the guy has 10 knockout wins, 5 knockout losses. He last weighed in at 242. So you need to drop at least another 20 off of that, probably more like 25. Excuse me, to be in range. To make the weight, and he's. I just don't think the guy's disciplined. I don't think he's coming in there with a good game plan. I feel like if his initial outburst doesn't work, he's gonna be thinking about basically getting knocked out. So another fight. I don't want to have any action on it. I think Khalil probably wins, but I would never want to lay this kind of juice on Khalil. But I don't blame someone if they do. Like if they say, "Hey, look, this guy's chin is dusted. Khalil's got fast hands. He's a southpaw. He's got advantages with the kicks, right? Chris Dawkins doesn't throw any freaking kicks. And then takedown wise, Chris Dawkins has never really shown good takedowns or good cardio. He's like a early finish, guy, right? Like Khalil, as well has the more proven conditioning as well. So I mean, I'm honestly talking myself into a Khalil bet, right? Like if I'm,
Honestly.
how I'm talking about it, and Martian. Last thing, these guys are supposed to fight 2 months ago, and Dawkins pulled out with an injury. So
Mm. Yeah, 3 losses in a row, all knockouts for Daukaus. Had to switch things up, dropping down the weight here. It's a good move. He was obese, and just pretty slow at heavyweight. So interested to see what he has here. But I do agree that honestly, it's seeming like it's Rountree or past at this point. I mean, Daukaus seems very correlated to winning the fight in the first round. I mean, Khalil just fought another skilled striker in Dustin Jacoby, and even though we had him losing that fight, that was definitely a bad decision. The fact that he could go close enough with Dustin Jacoby, a skilled, proven striker at light heavyweight, a skilled, proven 15-minute striker at light heavyweight in his last fight, just shows you that, I just think that this fight, the longer it goes, is much, much better suited for him. And I've got some fun bets on the fight that will very likely lose, but I believe they are value, as some will call it, before the fight. That's the fight to go the distance, plus 380, and then Khalil Rountree decision plus 900. The odds actually have Daukaus more likely to win by decision than Khalil Rountree does, which to me makes no sense whatsoever. I guess maybe they're thinking he can take him down and lay on him for multiple rounds, but I really don't think so. Daukaus, I think, will be likely round 1 or 2 or bust here. The longer the fight goes, it favors Khalil, and he is coming off multiple knockouts in a row. So I don't think he's gonna come out, you know, like a bat out of hell, just looking to smoke Khalil. I think we're gonna see a more measured approach, kind of like he tried to do against Derek Lewis. You remember he was circling, he was throwing leg kicks. I think that's what we're gonna see here. There's a chance Khalil blasts him and just makes it easy here. But Khalil also loves circling on the outside, kicking a lot, throwing a lot of feints. So I would not be completely
Khalil's not
shocked
that
if
good. I can't bet on him. No way. I'm not betting on.
I don't know. I really think that Daukaus is drawing really, really thin here. I mean, I really think so. So that's enough about that bullshit fight though. Next fight, co-main
I just
event,
want to
heavyweight.
make people remind people about Khalil versus Prakshnia. That's all
That
I
was a
was saying.
bad one. Also, I do not give Daukaus the Philly stamp of approval. We don't fuck with 12 around here, and just not a good fighter. So, featherweight division next, Cub Swanson, a legend, taking on Hakeem-Dawodu. Odds for this one, Dawodu favored minus 200, I believe, minus 210. Cub Swanson plus 180. So obviously, if Cub Swanson was anywhere near his prime here, he would be the favorite in this fight. Dawadu thoroughly dominated by Julian Erosa in his last fight. Pretty long layoff too. I guess only 11 months, but Dawadu is a sharp striker, but the guy doesn't have power. He kind of is a decision fighter, very content to pick away at you and just pick his shots, win over the full 15 minutes. He's not an offensive grappler. He's not a good defensive grappler. So it's just he only has one area of the fight where he can really win and look clean, and that is distance striking. So the fact that he's minus 210 here, I don't think it's exactly right. But Cub Swanson also has been looking really old lately. He did make that really stupid drop down to 135, got decimated by Martinez there. And it just seems like his legs are like particularly fragile, right? I mean, we've seen Pineda hit him in the legs, and that did some damage. Martinez was ripping the legs, and obviously that led to the finish there. But it just seems like Cub Swanson's physicality, his durability is way, way on the decline. We might see a slight bounce back here because he's at 145. He's not having to make that deathly cut down to 135. But it's Cub or pass here. He is 39 years old. Probably on the verge of retirement. So it's definitely a very high risk bet. His floor here is very low. But at the same time, historically, he's the much better career fighter, and Dawadu, I don't think, is that great and has a lot of areas you can exploit. So, I guess it's cover pass, but nothing on this one for me.
Yeah, so this fight is one that I have a small bet on. I took the under here at the 2.5 when it was a small plus. I think that this fight's there's gonna be a finish here, and the reason I think that is, I was kind of going back and forth a little bit, like kind of like shitting on Hakeem-Dawodu because I don't, I just don't like the kind of striker that he is. He's kind of like a lot of flash, right? Mean faces. He looks really scary. But the fact is, the guy has finished one guy in the last like 6, 7 years, and it was a guy who admitted to give him hand jobs in Japan to get money. So, and it took him 3 rounds. It took him 3 rounds to finish him. So on the feet, he's got some clean strikes a bit, but I feel like he just like a fucking like an arcade game, fighter. Like he just hitting buttons. Like he's just hitting these button strikes. He's left hook, leg kick. Like he's trying to look pretty. And it looks pretty sometimes. But when he does get pressured, I feel like, maybe he could crack a little bit. But the thing is, like his chin just looked bad in that last fight. Like what's his name? Julian rocked him multiple times. Body triangle to him with ease, no resistance by this guy. I mean, this guy is clueless on the ground. He sucks really bad on the ground. And I'm embarrassed for Julio Arce that the fact that he let him out of that back mount a few times, and that's why he lost the fight. But he's been back mounted multiple times. He's been dominated on the ground multiple times. Didn't make weight his last fight, and even then he was still getting rocked, right? So maybe he's making the weight here. His chin is maybe a little bit more deteriorated. But the fact is, what I think is that Cub Swanson is not coming to fight for 15 minutes, is how I feel. And I don't really think it has something to do with his like durability and stuff like that, which obviously that does not help. But I just think he's coming to throw down. You saw against Darren Elkins, the way Cub Swanson throws these overhand rights and his follow-up shots and stuff like that. He's kind of digging in there. He's kind of like leaning in, and he's coming back, closing the door with his left hooks, and he's looking to do damage. He's not really a point fighter. The Cub Swanson's never been. Would you ever think to describing Cub Swanson as a point fighter, Martian?
No.
No, not a point fighter. Not a guy that can take a lot of shots either. But he's 11-3 in decisions. But I don't think he's looking to go to a decision here with this guy. I think if this goes to a decision, very often it's a win for Hakeem just because of the range strikes that he's able to throw out there. But I think they're gonna mix it up. So I'm leaning towards this fight to finish, but I think the value is mostly gone. Maybe if you want to take a doesn't start round 3, maybe if that's like a plus, a plus number, but I wouldn't want to lay juice on the under here. Just because I feel that, like I said, Cub or Dawadu sometimes doesn't have a lot of power, but I feel like after getting his ass whooped in his last fight, he's not gonna make a statement. Like all these guys they're not on long-term contracts. So, put up or shut up for him. You get an old ass motherfucker who he's only been able to beat Darren Elkins and Pineda in the last 3 years. So, and he was getting beat up by Pineda or the Pineda fight, whatever it is what it was. But yeah, I mean, I just think this fight is gonna go under. But I would not lay this juice on Hakeem. It would be cover pass.
Yeah, I understand a little bit of the under, but also, you one of your points that kind of counteracts that is the Dawado only one finish in the past 7 years, and um,
Yeah, but the thing
14,
is, like
14th minute.
between Arce, Bochniak to Hugov, Trezano, those guys are pretty durable, pretty tough. Not a lot of they don't really get finished.
Yeah, they have Cub KO at six plus 650. That's not bad.
That could be a good one too to add into the under.
Yeah, or just like the fight to end KO at all plus 105. Um,
Not bad. Okay, yeah.
So that's going to move us to the main event, welterweight division, Brazilian main event. Here, Vicente Luque coming off of 2 losses in a row, taking on Rafael dos Anjos. Odds for this one have kind of bouncing back and forth. Two-way action on this one. Currently, Bet Online has RDA minus 115, Vicente Luque minus 105. Your turn to start it off here, main event time.
South American banger alert. We got two guys here. Brazil, America, Brazil, America, Brazil. So Rafael, he did his camp in Brazil. He's moving back to America apparently. And I think he's coming. He's coming in America with a win. He's gonna christen it with a win. Here because we got let's say the advantages here for RDA over a fighter like Vicente Luque, Southpaw, right? So Southpaw. We saw Jeff Neal tune this boy up, right? We were on Jeff Neal big there. We saw Bilal. We were on Bilal there. the Gilbert Burns comes out after the fight and basically says the reason Vicente Luque lost, or like a big wrinkle in the game plan of Belal, is that Belal was switching to southpaw and nailing him with the left body kick. And if you know Belal, one, I mean, his kicks have been getting better, obviously, but two, the guy doesn't really have power. He can't really keep you honest with his hands very much. Obviously, he's a big welterweight, so that went in his favor. But the fact that this guy got crushed by body kicks by him was hilarious. And so often Vicente Luque just lets you be in fights with him. He's kind of looking to accumulate shots on you. His best punch is a left hook, so that's gonna be tough for him to land here. I think against a southpaw in RDA. I feel like RDA, his wrestling obviously is way better than Vicente Luque. Look, Vicente's been taken down by like basically, excuse me, everyone that has ever tried, and they're easy takedowns, dude. Like it's like they run him over. It's like the people are literally a truck, and Vicente Luque is like a bystander, like in the middle of the highway, because there is no sprawl from this guy. He just even Jeff Neal took him down. Jeff Neal does not wrestle. Jeff Neal took him down. Chiesa took him down. I think Tyron Woodley end up on top of him, for a quick second? Maybe. I don't really remember. Mike Perry took him down. Derek Krantz was like on top of him, if I remember right. Like, it's crazy. So, I think that's easy for RDA. I think RDA, after he establishes a little bit of his range, gonna be easy for him to find him with his punches. Vicente Luque has bad defense. You saw all those shots that were getting through on him against Jeff Neal. And like he's gonna just be looking to counter RDA. Could he counter RDA? Yeah, sure, maybe. Maybe he catches them clean. But when I was watching back that Fiziev fight, the thing that I noticed a lot is that I actually thought RDA didn't look that bad in that fight. It just Fiziev is a fucking street fighter, Ryu Ken, brother, disciple, and he's so fucking fast that RDA just couldn't catch up to him, couldn't land on him, how he wanted to. He was trying to build some of these combinations together, curtail this guy into the fence, but he really couldn't. And the thing is, Vicente Luque, he's not like that. He's slow-footed. He looks to pressure you, but reality is you could turn this guy whenever you want. You could abuse him in the clinch whenever you want. And then when he's on his back, he's got some submissions. He got no get-up game at all. So RDA is should be able to get these takedowns, get these double legs when he wants to. And if he gets him on the ground, especially, mid-fight, I feel like he's going to be able to easily control Vicente Luque. Now, Luque's tough, dude. You don't get a brain hemorrhage from fucking going down from the first shot. Now, do you, Martian, right? That don't happen, right? It takes a few of them. So I respect the guy. But the guy's got blatant flaws in his game. And he's fighting a 5-rounder against a former championship. Obviously the guy's not probably winning the title anymore, but former championship level fighter who has literally every, skill that the guy struggles with. And Luque's 2-6 in decisions. So if I'm taking Luque, I'm taking him by knockout. Because I don't think he can, I don't think he's going to submit RDA. I would be really surprised. It'll have to be a club and stuff. So I would take, I think you take RDA here, money line, and you take some Luque KO. What's Luque KO? Luque KO is 3-1, dude. I say 2-1 on Bet Online. Where's 3-1? FanDuel?
I think FanDuel, yeah.
You take Luque KO and RDA to win, and I think you making money. So Luque by decision, I would be flabbergasted by. So
I agree.
That's my thoughts of the fight. I think RDA is gonna tune this boy up, and get a win.
You think it'll be by decision for RDA?
I've not been good at predicting RDA, how he wins his fights, but I will predict a submission. Just because.
Nice. That'll
Just because.
plus 460. I mean, they have Luque sub at plus 500 and then RDA sub at plus 460. So I mean, not too much more I could say. Ozzy hit the nail on the head in pretty much all regards here. It's big bet season on RDA, biggest money line bet of the year for me. And Ozzy already laid out so many good points. I really don't think there's too much left to add. The Fiziev fight, I thought RDA actually looked really good there. I mean, obviously not enough to win, but he was turning the tide in those later rounds. He was attempting a shitload of takedowns. He was trying the right game plan. It's just Fiziev's takedown defense looked really, really stellar there. So now he's not having to cut the weight down to 155. Although, in 155 last year, we saw him absolutely body Renato Moicano over 5 rounds. I mean, just an absolute ass whooping over another high quality fighter. And make no mistake, guys, RDA is an all time great fighter. I think he's probably somewhere in like the top 15 fighters of all time. Just an absolute stud on the feet, grappler, game planner, pressure fighter, cardio, everything about the guy at one point was elite. And still to this day, enjoy watching him fight. Ton and ton of 5 round experience. Has Luque ever won a 5 round fight? I don't know.
No, absolutely
No.
not.
He lost to Bilal, and that was a 5 rounder. No, Tyron Woodley, that was yeah. I don't think he's ever won a 5 round fight. While just a wealth of experience in 5 rounders for RDA here. So, the southpaw advantage, the grappling advantage, the brain problems. I just think Vicente Luque historically has been very overrated by the market. You didn't mention the fun fact, Ozzy, about Luque and his odds. What is that?
Oh, he's not. This guy's never closed as an underdog. I mean, he closed like, it's like pick. Maybe some places you could get even money or plus 105, but like a real underdog never closes. As an underdog.
Yeah. And it's just, I mean, he lost to Bilal, okay, but then he was Jeff Neal. I mean, Jeff Neal is a nasty southpaw striker. Vicente Luque struggles with southpaw strikers, and Neal was plus 150 in that fight. I mean, just a big pattern of Luque being overrated by the market. I think that's continuing to happen here, and I believe that RDA will win the fight actually rather easily, honestly. So, RDA big here for me. That's gonna take
Honestly,
this.
I think that some people they might be like, well, RDA got dominated grappling by Chiesa, and Luque submitted Chiesa, so Luque is gonna be able to deal with the grappling. I honestly think some people they do you think
Their brains
they
work
some
like
people
that?
do that
Oh, for
A
sure.
plus B equals C kind of thing?
For sure, yeah. I
I
mean,
honestly think that, dude.
we're dealing with a very stupid population of people,
Yeah.
here, so they definitely think like that.
Yo,
Um,
RDA, if RDA looks anything like he did against Fiziev, he's gonna destroy Vicente Luque.
I agree there, but that is going to take us to our final segment, the Fuck, Marry, Kill segment here. I'm thinking of my lines as we speak. Um,
You gotta go first,
oh,
Marshall. You
alright,
gotta give me
alright,
my
I got
first
you.
this
I
week.
got you. I
Let's
got you.
go. Lay it
Alright,
on me.
first line. Chukwi money line,
Mm-hmm.
which is at minus 143.
Okay.
That takes us to the next one, which is a bet that you mentioned you like, is the under 2.5 in the co-main event, the Swanson and Dawodu fight that is currently at minus 115.
Mm.
And then the last one will be the over 1.5 rounds in the Daukaus and Rountree fight at plus 150.
Holy shit. Damn. Okay. So, man, that's a tough slate this week, man. Could I take a rain check? No, I'm joking. So I'm gonna go with what was it for Issa and Chukwi?
Chukwi.
I'm gonna go with I'm gonna fuck. Oh, yikes, dude, this is tough. I'm gonna fuck Chukwi. I gotta fuck Chukwi, I think. Oh no, I'm marrying Chukwi. I'm gonna get in that African bloodline. So I'm marrying Chukwi. I'm gonna kill the over in the Dawkins fight, killing that shit, and then I'm gonna fuck the the under in the
Mm,
Swanson-Dawodu fight.
that's
So
good.
that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. So now, Martian, I'm giving you yours. All right. So you ready?
Got it.
So
I'm ready.
I'm gonna mix it up for you because we're gonna add in Bellator here. All right. So
What is
first,
that allowed? All right,
yes,
all right.
it's allowed. I make the rules. All right. So your first one is James Gonzalez money line. All right, that's number one for you. Number
What was the
two for
price?
you, plus 105. Number
Okay.
two for you, RDA minus 115, Martian. And then lastly, your third bet is going to be, man, this slate is bad, dude. Is Mike Breeden money line.
Come on, that's too easy of one. All right,
Okay,
well,
okay, okay,
obviously we
okay,
get
okay, okay, okay.
okay.
Last one is Buday money line.
Oh, there we
Uh,
go, there we go, there we go.
Buday
That's what I'm talking about.
minus 205.
Okay. Well, even though I like Buddy Boudet, we're gonna have to kill him just because
Oh man.
out of those three, I actually do like him the least.
Okay.
I'm very confident in Buday, but -205, just not too much meat left on the bone there.
Pause.
The marry has to be Rafael dos Anjos. Just
Yes.
a great family man.
Yes.
Even though he's a Bolsonaro supporter, just the type of guy that you want around your family. Um,
Yes. Even with
Longevity
the
too.
even when he's only rocking the mustache, even then, still good.
I mean, the man is longevity personified. We know how they say, through you'll nurse them through sickness and in health when you're getting married. RDA took that very literally. And then
Gotcha.
we gotta fuck the Northeast guy, James
That's
Gonzalez,
right.
former
Two
opponent of
bucks.
Bill Algeo, and probably the
James
last guy.
Gonzalez is my boy. We're Eskimo brothers
Really?
in the MMA sense.
Oh, right. Oh, okay. That's a little less interesting, but
Uh,
I believe Bill Algeo was the last guy to actually like cleanly defeat James Gonzalez. I don't know if anybody has done it since. Truly, don't know. Let's
mhm.
pull up. Oh no, Aaron. I forgot the Aaron Pico fight happened.
Aaron
Forgot
Pico
about
fight,
that one.
bro. That was this dude. James Gonzalez is tough as fuck.
Yeah,
I remember when I was coming up, I was like, ooh, like I would not want to fight Aaron Pico, like ever. Like I would
yeah.
never sign that contract. So credit, shout out.
But yeah, that's a good one. And less Bellator impressions. Any endorsements or stuff you want to say about Bellator?
We're on Jimmy James, obviously Northeast Shoot Box. That's our boy. Overall, there's a lot of fights on the card. So some bets that I made, I got Moldovsky. What's his name? Sydney Outlaw as an underdog here. He's getting the other guy's getting steamed, so we'll probably get a better line. I haven't made the bet yet, but I will. But anything over 200, I like on him. And then you say you like Quiche, right? I know that other girl, but
I don't know about if
I
I'm
hate
actually
quiche.
gonna. Yeah,
I hate
it's
quiche, both literally like quiche, like the dish, and then quiche. I hate both. Quiche is my least favorite MMA fighter.
mm, that's a little it's a little harsh, but
I
yeah,
don't care. Yo, Alan Cruz maybe over in that fight. But yeah, there's a lot of fights in that card.
yeah. I endorse Jimmy G. Don't I guess Outlaw is good just because Mamadaev is such a lay in prayer. He literally does nothing in these fights. Oh wait, you forgot to mention your favorite bet, the main event bet.
What does that mean? The under. Yeah, so that fight not or no. No, actually no. That fight that's not a bet that I make or I like. But interesting that shut up, Martian. Interesting that Logan Storley's getting steamed a little bit.
I
But
got
one other thing,
Alan Cruz. Alan
Alan
Cruz.
Cruz. One other thing, if this Nikita guy goes down a bit more, I think stylistically it's a difficult fight for Higo. So, but
Mm.
it will have to be less. I can't lay that kind of juice.
Barzola,
But
GTD.
Zola GTD, yes, I like that one. Bates is I think a tough prospect. I think, win or lose, I think he'll be scrappy, but I think it will be tough for Barzola to finish anyone, but especially Jalen Bates.
Yeah, so we mentioned a lot of lines at the end there. Last week, I remember I mentioned some lines. 2 out of 3 winners in that one. A -160 winner. That the Kai Bennett lost, and then the under in the Anthony Ivy fight. So 2 out of 3 came through for me last week. Let's hope we can get some post limb bet winners in this one. That'll be all for this week, though. In RDA, we trust everybody. Hope everyone enjoys the fights, win some bets. We'll see you all before the next UFC event next week. UFC Boston, Aljamain Sterling versus Sean O'Malley, a big one next week. We'll see you all then. Peace out.
Later.